Good morning, Philadelphia, and all of the ships at sea. This is your girl, Amber E, with the piping hot tea. This is my tea. What's yours? I'll admit, and I know I say this a lot, I love that theme song. It never gets old. I love it. It's just, and I know I could get on a long tangent about this, about the Blossom Dearie version versus just that instrumental, that ba, 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 da, da. I'm a swing dancer. Maybe one day I'll talk about that, if you are ever busy or not busy on a Sunday afternoon and want to go down to Rittenhouse Square, you'll see a bunch of people dancing Lindy Hop. I might even be there for that. Love you, Rittenhouse Hop. You're awesome. But in any event, happy Saturday, everybody. It is the 15th of November. Can you believe that? Where did the time go? I mean, I feel like we've lived 5 years in less than 12 months. Maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic right now, or is it hyperbolic or hyperbolic? Maybe I'm exaggerating or shushing a little bit, but my goodness, where did the time go, people? This is me without stimulants, but I'm about to have my stimulant in a little bit, my good old tea. And today's tea, as you know, is a black tea, and it's an Irish breakfast. I've talked a little bit about Irish breakfast versus English breakfast, so on and so forth. And so this past week I was over in King of Prussia and I got this Irish breakfast tea, and it talked about in the description how it was harvested in Assam, which is the best place to get black tea in the world. Honey, if it's delicious and it don't hurt me, I'm fine. Of course, the source makes a difference. And I have a friend named Greg, who is a really large tea aficionado. He's been the person who has been out to the fields to see the tea leaves and who has a very powerful gunpowder tea. Hi, Greg. How you doing? I'm not at that level yet. I do intend to get there someday to, get to the source, so to speak. But for now, it's in my cup. It's been brewing for a hot minute, and I'm actually not sweetening it with honey today. Am I going to drink it as a straight black tea? I've done that before. Am I doing that today? Child, no, I ain't. What I'm actually going to do is I haven't had this in so long, so when I saw it, I was so happy. I'm using a brown sugar vegan creamer. And I know people hear the word vegan. Let me be fair. Some people hear the word vegan and they go, am I missing, quantity over quality? That's absolutely not true. There are so many great products out there. This is actually an oat creamer that has a brown sugar taste to it, and there's sunflower oil in it also. If you ever have those coffee creamers, and I found this out this week actually, there's going to be some kind of oil. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but the one I've been using a lot that has like this French vanilla twist to it that I've been using at work to sweeten my Earl Grey, kind of making something like a mock London fog, has palm oil in it. I found that out this week and I went, how did I not know? I'll get to that in a little bit. But long short of it, that's how I'm doing my tea today. Just a good old-fashioned Irish breakfast with a little bit of cream. Y'all know how we do. I hope you're ready. Spoons up, please. And away we go. As long as I don't spill it. There we go. Round and round's a dreadful show. Oh, it smells so good. I'm sorry. Round and round's a dreadful show. Back and forth is how we go. From 6 to 12 and back again. Back and forth to stay within. Now again, we're not dealing with cow's milk here, so if you're going to go with a non-dairy option, you might have to be a little more liberal with your creamer if that's the direction you want to go in, because you're not going to find the same kind of quality because you're using a dairy product versus a non-dairy product. But golly gee wow, I'm smelling this. It almost smells like, for all my boba or bubble tea fans, this kind of smells like a brown sugar boba in a way, but let's just see this. I mean, I know what to anticipate, but just to be on the safe side. Somebody raise your hands and wave a hanky. Golly, that is too good. I just said raise your hands and wave a hanky. I got a lot of rest last night. You have to excuse me. I've had a very busy week. So my goodness gracious, this is a great space. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm sorry that the lights keep going on and off for those who are watching. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Brown sugar. Discuss. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. It tastes a little like boba. But of course there's no bubbles in this, but oh yeah, that's yummy. And while we're on the topic of boba, I'm one of those folk who's not the biggest fan. I like texture with my food, which means that I have to be in a certain mood to really do Jell-O. I'll I'll make it work. I'm not anti-Jello. It's just, you know, the thing. So when I have boba tea or bubble tea, I do like to kind of chew on the beads, the tapioca beads, because my goodness, it does things for me. But you would think from a gelatinous standpoint, it should get on my nerves. It don't. This might be too much information for you. You're listening anyway. Love you much. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to take a small break. I am calling this episode of Tea with Amber E the You Did It edition. I know for a lot of us, it has been a week, honey. It has been having to work through, having to work around, having to work past, but I am going to give you your props. I'm even going to give me my props. It's kind of like that acceptance speech. I forget what award show it was for, where Snoop Dogg kind of goes, and I want to thank me. Or Niecy Nash Betts says the same thing. I want to thank me. Go on, girl, with your bad self. I want to appreciate you. You did this week. I don't know what your week entailed. For me, my week took work. And the two of us, or all of us listening together, made it. So kudos to you for making it to this Saturday. Everybody didn't. Some people logged off, so to speak. Not even physically, but some people just said, I'm ready to kind of throw up my hands and let go. So whatever your accomplishments were this week, don't forget to love on you. Not in an arrogant, pious kind of way, but like somewhere between, I guess, Snoop thanking you and Kanye being self-gratifying. Like somewhere between like, oh, I'm a genius. Yeah, I'm amazing. But at the same time, we're like, I'm a genius and I'm amazing. So I hope that you really embrace that. Good morning, Ebony. Thank you for watching. One other thing I do want to mention is I had a chat with a family member this week. Because again, like I said, I had a week this week. My goodness gracious. And she reminded me of an occurrence my mother had where she was kind of having a moment where she almost kind of just couldn't go anymore. Not like in that extreme. Don't get the wrong idea. Please don't get the wrong idea. But you know, we all kind of have our moments where we're like, can't I just kind of throw up my head and say, no more? Somebody else can take it. I've had enough. And when my mother told my family member this story, and told me the same story later on, actually, she was kind of like, girl, you had better dab your eyes and you better pretend you have some dirt in them and you had better keep going. It's almost kind of referential to me, that story, that episode of Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story, which is a spinoff of the Bridgerton series. I'm not all hardcore for Bridgerton. With as many times as I've watched Queen Charlotte, which is, again, a prequel, if you will, to Bridgerton, I feel like I should see Bridgerton and watch it more so that I can make the connections. It's just not really my thing. But I will say that the Queen Charlotte spinoff is wonderful. And there's a portion in it where one of the secondary characters, Lady... Oh goodness, Ebony, you're watching this. What's her name? Lady Danbury. Kind of in her younger state, her husband's just died. She's afraid she's going to lose her title. You know, she's the first of her kind as a black woman who is, you know, part of the Ton, one of the ladies in waiting for the queen, so on and so forth. And the queen's mother-in-law, Dowager Princess Augusta, has been trying to get all the tea. And by the way, I will put a pin in this for a second. I have to give Bridgerton props that because of it, tea culture in America has kind of gone up a spike. I've been tea culture all my life. This is nothing new for me, but I will kind of say, okay, Bridgerton, with your holiday mixes, thank you. Do you, boo? But anyway, getting back to my point. At one point, Lady Danbury, who if you do watch her in Bridgerton, or even there's a flash forward of her as an adult, she's like this woman with a cane who doesn't really need one. It's a power symbol. This is, you know, this is Queen Charlotte's and Mad King George III, sorry to say it like that, it's during their reign right before Queen Victoria. And so you see her kind of wearing a top hat and being amazing, but as a younger woman, she's falling apart because she doesn't know what to do. And Princess Augusta, who's really not a nice person, says to her face, she says, I don't like you. She says to her face, she says, I really don't like you, but I enjoy our spars. You need to cover up your bruises and endure. And then she pulls out some pear brandy and puts it in the teacup with them, and they drink it together. And it's like, okay. So even in Princess Augusta being so blunt and very unkind, I might add, she can at least look at another woman who's ready to break down. And she says, baby, we ain't got time for that. We don't. I'm sorry. It's not to say that your feelings aren't valid. Just right now, as a woman in power, you have to cover your bruises and endure. That That's tough love. I know it is. I don't know if that's for anyone else this week, but it's a hard lesson to learn, that sometimes we want to fall apart and break and, not keep going. And it's like, sometimes, baby, you've got to cover your bruises and endure. And I find it amazing that when you choose to do that, you tap into a superpower you didn't know you had. And again, I'm being a little referential to TV shows and pop culture right now, but there was even an episode of Glee. For anybody else who were Gleeks out there, yes, I watched too. There was an episode of Glee where the late, great Corey Monteith, who played Finn Hudson, he said, I don't want to be special. Why is it when I'm special, I'm the one who is called on to solve everybody's problems? I just want to be a normal person. And Mr. Schuster looks at him and he says, yeah, being special sucks sometimes. That doesn't change your assignment. That's my Amber Earl's twist on it. But, sometimes you have to cover your bruises and endure for the sake of the bigger picture. So that's my long drawn out way of saying, I really hope that if you had to push this week, that you're taking some time this morning with a hot beverage, or at least with me, thank you for watching and listening, to heal. Because like I say almost every week, I've got you, you've got me, we've got this. So spoons up, teacup up, taking a sip for a second. It tastes like marshmallows. That sounds so wrong, I know, but it's so nice. Oh, I love that tea. Yes, we're doing that again in 2 weeks. I don't care if I'm being redundant. That is so yummy. Yeah, it is. Now, honey, like we say in church, honey, it's time for announcements. Couple of things. First of all, I'm putting on my teacher voice for a second. November 22nd. Everyone say November 22nd. Yes, I heard you. Germantown Night Market is happening. The Germantown Night Market is happening from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here at Maplewood Mall in the heart of Germantown. If you ever need a landmark for where it is, there's a huge mural of the amazing Ursula Rucker outside of where Maplewood Mall starts, coming from Germantown Avenue, that is. And so from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., there's going to be the Germantown Night Market where, how do I put this? Deck the halls with early shopping, fa la 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 la, support local businesses, something like that. I'll work on it, don't worry about it. But point being is us here at G-Town Radio are going to be there, kind of like how we were at the Harvest Festival at the Arboretum. And again, shout out to everyone who came. But yes, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., there is going to be a table with us here from Germantown Radio, gtownradio.com. And we're going to be asking you, what is your wish for Germantown 2026? You have 2 weeks to think about that. What is your wish for Germantown 2026? What do you want to see happen in your family, in your circles, in your community, in your government, in the music that you listen to? What is your wish? It can be anything. I'm not going to give you my answer yet because it's not time, and it's next Saturday, not tonight, today. Woohoo. But again, next week, I hope you come out. I hope you see your girl and all the other amazing radio hosts for G-Town Radio and the local businesses that are here in our neighborhood. Again, that's next Saturday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., November the 22nd here at Maplewood Mall. If you do have questions, you can always go to maplewoodcollective@gmail.com or send an inquiry to maplewoodcollective@gmail.com. Also, I do want to give I love my shout outs for my show. Today's shout out is easy. Today's shout out goes to every single volunteer, every food bank, every person who pushed and gave, everyone who kept the refrigerators in our neighborhood in Germantown full for people during the government shutdown. I commend you. I respect you. I love you. Even spreading the word online of the food banks. I want to give you a mad shout out. I'll even add Miss Whoopi Goldberg to this, whose birthday was 2 days ago. If you watched her episode of The View, she spent time during her favorite things that she does every year for her birthday to talk about other food banks that are still active. Just because the shutdown is over does not mean that people don't still need help. So don't let that well run dry. Oh, the problem is over. If you think the problem is done, I'm getting ahead of myself, child. The point is, thank you to every single person who put the work in, who spread the word, who spent the hours volunteering, who packed the boxes, who bought the spices. Because, you know, we donate canned goods and non-perishables. People forget about spices sometimes. Who donated the, you know, Italian seasonings and the salt and the pepper. Thank you so much for the work that you did for our community, for our city, for our country. I see you. I respect you. One in particular, if you have not looked into the Black Farmers Co-op, I highly recommend that you do so, because they do so much for food insecurity in our city, so that whether we're all, you know, grasping at straws to feed our families, or we want to know where our food comes from. See, we don't talk about that. I forget who talked about it once, but there was I want to say he was a minister who talked about, like, he said, you know, when I was growing up, a biscuit was a biscuit. I know who made it. I knew what was in it. You knew how to knead the dough. You knew how to use a cup to cut it out. If you're watching, you know who my family member who makes the best biscuits. I love you. We're going to talk soon. You knew what was in a biscuit. Now you kind of get a can, you pop it on the side. Nothing wrong with those cans. Look it, I am not going from one extreme to the other. But back in the day, you didn't have a can to pop on the side of the counter and unroll and then put on a, you know, a round pan and put in the oven. Nothing wrong with that. But back in those days, a biscuit was a biscuit because you had to make it yourself. And so with the Black Farmers Co-op, knowing where your food comes from makes a difference, whether you're in a government shutdown or you lose your SNAP benefits or otherwise. And they work to make sure that food insecurity is not something we have to keep on the front of our temples. Look, at this point, and I say it all the time, I know, we have to make sure that we stand strong together as a community, so that when one of us falls, we don't have to, I hate to take this turn, I'm sorry in advance, when one of us falls, it's not like what happened to Kayla Scott. We don't need that to happen. Don't get me wrong. But my point is, we're here to support one another 24/365, no matter what community you're part of. All that to say, definitely make sure you go to blackfarmerscoop.org, because my goodness gracious, there's so much to learn. There's so many resources, and you would be amazed at how many people are involved to make sure that we are circulating not only our own income, but our own resources. Woo! That was a lot, wasn't it? In 18 minutes, that was a whole lot. And again, we have a list, but there are a couple things I need to get to while the tea is still piping hot. Do not forget that there's actually another Real Talk happening today at Braid Mill. The same wonderful Dr. Marriott Butler is going to be leading this one as well. And if you don't have a ticket, guess what? There are tickets. We had an amazing person sponsor quite a few tickets who just said, I want to help. So if you're like, well, I want to go. It starts at 10 in the morning. I can't pay. Look, honey, get there and get what you need. I'm citing so many people this morning, but I want to say it was John P. Key who was like, either you bought your ticket or you came in through the back door. You here. So if you want to connect with more people about business, I love Real Talk, and I'll tell you why. It really is an amazing way to connect with people who have what you don't know that you need, and who you'll find will need what you have. It's just a ways, and it sharpens each other. You start talking about, so who's your publisher, or who did your business cards, or how did you make a QR code? I don't know. Who does your website? Does Canva still do that? It's an amazing way to, so you have Fiverr. Who's your connection? It's about expanding all of us. And so a long short of it, if you are free at 10 a.m. today and you want to get to Braid Mill, it starts at 10, and you're like, I don't have the time for a ticket, honey, it's there, it's for you. I don't care how you get there, just get there if you can. I could sing that, but am I loud? We're not gonna do that right now. So yes, there's so much happening. I don't know if I can get to it all, and the reason I'm trying to keep my glasses on, but with this headset on, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Oh! Okay, never mind. They're on. Never mind. Side question. Has anyone ever put glasses on and they were leaning away and you go, are those my ears aren't crooked, are they? I had a really cool conversation with my coworker yesterday about that. Like, you ever put your glasses on and it's like they lean a certain way and you're going, is it me or is it the glasses? Never mind, I digress. Anyway, I guess it's the Irish breakfast tea that I'm feeling this morning, good people. Oh my goodness. So like I said a bit ago, 43 days, the longest government shutdown in history. I had a gig this past week, and during the break between my two sets, people actually didn't know that the government shutdown had taken place. And yes, the president has signed the bill for it. It's in the books. It's over. And of course, the question that a lot of people were asking was, what do we gain from this? Did we, unfortunately, did Democrats yield too much? Does this really change anything? So on and so forth. And you know me, the question is always, Amber, what's your takeaway? Thank you for asking, Amber. I'm glad you asked. Here's my takeaway. If history has taught us anything, change is going to take time. And sometimes, especially when the road gets bumpy, you just can't take your foot off of the gas. I almost want to apologize for that. I'm not going to. It's to me, it kind of made me wonder, oh, almost made these fall off my head, child. It made me wonder, again, people were going without, people were losing their jobs. And again, to Whoopi Goldberg's point, now we can get back to work. People are no longer having to worry about when is this furlough thing going to end. We're back on point. But I guess my general point that I want to make is that no matter what you push for, it's not going to come easy. And maybe you just can't quit. I'm not necessarily saying well, I'll put it like this. If we keep going, what would happen? Consequences are consequences. And I don't want to water this down at all. This was bad. B-A-D, Times New Roman, bold font, underlined 3 times, italicized. This, but my goodness, just my question is, even if this is over, does this solve the problem? Does it create a new problem? And what do we do as people who are I'm not on Capitol Hill. I just have a radio show once a week. And I take that back. I'm not belittling it. I have a radio show once a week. Woo! Go G-Town. Go G-Town. I see you. It's your birthday. I have a radio show once a week, but I'm not on Capitol Hill. But I do know that people who are on Capitol Hill are making a difference. And so, in seeing how now that the shutdown has ended is going to affect people, what do we do so that we aren't shortchanged again? Look, if anything, the shutdown showed us 2 things. 1, that there are more resources than we realize. And 2, if you vote and you don't vote the way that status quo has been for a long time, people are going to pay attention and wake up. So guess what? There is still work to be done, but it's a clear reminder. Hey, guess what? We can still make a difference with what we're given. And there are people who still will not take no for an answer, take no lying down. I don't care if the Bear cups of Starbucks are, sold out in 5 seconds. That's irrelevant at this point. At this point, I was going to mention that. I don't think we have time. At this point, what we can do is make sure that we connect and stay strong with each other so that whether the mayor gets rid of the DEI initiatives or not, we don't have to wait for that to be able to get people in the seats who belong there, who have the best ideas, best resources, best, what am I trying to say? The best ways of making things better. Look, at this point in time, voting is going to make a difference. Talking to your neighbors is going to make a difference. No, it never was normal. And even normal wasn't working. Let's just call it what it is. The normal was never working. That's why there were all these, frayed pieces that we had to make work. And so long short of it, yes, the government shutdown ended after 43 days, but that does not mean that we don't stop knocking on doors and filling our bellies with food that our families are helping us out with. Our SNAP benefits are back on. That's wonderful. So glad that happened before Thanksgiving. Make sure you still know who your food banks are. Make sure that you still have people who will be able to help you, that heaven forbid something else should happen, we're not all in a lurch, because the problem hasn't been solved. It just hasn't been solved. There are things in motion so that people can go back to work. But guess what? We still have a long way to go. T-pause. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Irish breakfast versus English breakfast. Discuss. It tastes like boba! That's just too much! Ah! I'm having a wonderful time right now. So I gave y'all time to discuss that. Leave in the comments what y'all came up with. I gave you 5. Come on, let's keep it moving. Time is of the essence. But anyway, no matter how you slice this, remember, There is something amazing to be said about supporting your community and the cultures they're in. Again, even here in Germantown, I made a bit of a remark about Starbucks. And of course, Red Cup Day was on this past Thursday. And did you know that on Red Cup Day, there were over 1,000 unionized strikes on debatably the biggest business day of the year for Starbucks? And that took place in New York. And I'll go back a little bit for a little bit of context. For those of you who may not know, I'm sure all of you do, but just for the sake of conversation, there's a Red Cup Day where you can get a free reusable red cup at Starbucks. But there have been quite a few unionized Starbucks that have not come to a conclusion that they like, and so they decided all over the country to strike as a union. And just making a little, let me look at my notes. Let me just see this. That happened in New York. That happened here in Philadelphia, Minneapolis, Minnesota, San Diego, St. Louis, Missouri, Missouri, it's all good, Dallas, Texas, Columbus, Ohio, and in Seattle, the home of Starbucks itself. That's my point. That is my point. People might look at the people, what's the analogy here? You know, the little, I'm trying to remember what the analogy is. You know, the little person pushing up the big stone. I forget how it goes exactly. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is these problems don't go away in a heartbeat. They can't. They have been rolling down these hills for too long. They have traction. We have the pull of gravity, so on and so forth. It's not going to happen overnight. It might mean that you're going to have to keep going and going and going to get what you need from those who are in charge and those who have power. But you have more power than you realize. And when I was teaching, this would have been pre-pandemic, I was teaching over at Russell Biles Charter School. Oh, my babies, who are probably like off in college. Side note, I actually ran into one of my students about 2 months ago who said, "Were you a teacher over at Russell Byers? I liked you." I was over in Glenside of all places, and I ran into one of my former kids and I went, "You know me? Oh, it made a difference." Yes! But I digress. When I would talk to my kids, I'd let them know what the higher ups don't want you to realize is that you have more power than they want you to know. Because if you don't show up, they have no one to lord over. So don't think just because you're one of many, that means that you being that one doesn't make a difference. It makes a huge difference. It's even a quote from the movie A Bug's Life, where Hopper's like, "You let one ant stand up to us and they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line." Thank you, Pixar. I said what I said. So anyway, my dears, we did have a long list of things to get to today, but I just want to remind you, number one, you did it this week. You did that thing. You kept going. You did not give up. And even if you had to walk away, get on a bus and sit back thinking, "What did I just do packing up all my stuff?" Look, you still made a choice to take care of yourself, and Monday will bring something different. But you did that. You did the thing, honey. You made those accomplishments work. You made your ancestors proud. And if you take a minute to pause, you can even congratulate your own self. So I commend you. We are not finished yet. We're here on purpose because we have a purpose, and we are not done yet. Our best days are right in front of us, and we have more victory than we see. Trust me on this one. I know. I'm a teacher. So, long short of it, I really do hope that you enjoy your week. I hope you stay warm. I hope to see you next Saturday from 4 to 9 p.m. right here at Maplewood Mall at the Germantown Night Market. Like I said, go to maplewoodcollective@gmail.com if you want more information. You can always put in the comments if you have any questions. And by the way, if there are any businesses that you know of in your neighborhood, be that Germantown or otherwise, that need these resources, put them in the comments. We really need to make sure that we connect. So in any event, as I say every week, I've got you, you've got me, we've got this. Let's keep the tea piping hot, good people. Have a wonderful Saturday. It's going to be pretty good. Love and light to you all. Peace.